Every room has a sound. Most people don't know that. They walk in, they look around, they form an opinion about what they see. And they have no idea that what they're actually responding to is what they heard the moment they stepped through the door. Not music, not conversation, the room itself. A cheap room is loud, not in any way you can easily name. The sounds don't announce themselves, but they're there. A faint echo off hard surfaces, a brittleness in the air, the way your own footstep comes back to you a fraction of a second after you make it. You register it below the level of conscious thought, and it makes you feel, without knowing why, that the space is somehow less than it appeared in the photograph. The rooms I respect most are the ones that absorb sound the way good wool absorbs light, completely, without argument. I worked on a project once in Connecticut, an old federal-style house built in the 1820s that had been in the same family for 4 generations. The walls were plaster, original plaster, 3 coats 2 inches thick. The floors were wide plank white oak, darkened with age, covered in most rooms by large antique rugs that had been walked on for decades. The curtains were wool, floor to ceiling, heavy enough that you had to lean into them to pull them aside. I remember standing in the main sitting room on a Tuesday afternoon in November, with the windows closed and the heat not yet running. And the silence in that room was a physical thing. Not empty silence, full silence. The kind that makes you lower your voice without deciding to. That silence wasn't an accident. It wasn't even a design choice in the way people use that phrase. But it was the accumulated result of every material decision made in that room, over 200 years. Plaster walls don't vibrate the way drywall does. Drywall has a hollow quality. Tap it with your knuckle, and you'll hear exactly the problem. It's a membrane. Sound hits it and keeps moving. Plaster absorbs. The mass of it, the density of it, pulls sound in and holds it. The difference between a plaster room and a drywall room is the difference between speaking into a padded room and speaking into a cardboard box. Most homes built in the last 50 years are cardboard boxes. What surprises people, when I explain this, is how many of the materials that look expensive also happen to be acoustically serious. It's not a coincidence. The materials that were used in quality construction before the post-war period, plaster, heavy timber, stone, or brick, thick glass, were chosen because they lasted. And the things that last tend to have mass, and mass absorbs sound. A room lined in walnut paneling is quieter than a room painted white, not because of the color, because of the density of the wood. A marble floor is quieter than a ceramic tile floor in the way that matters. The sound of a footstep on marble has weight, has resolution. The sound of a footstep on cheap tile has a click to it, a brightness that reads, subconsciously, as thin. I once stood in a kitchen in a newly built house, the kind that photographs well, all white shaker cabinets and quartz counters that looked like marble if you didn't touch them. And the owner told me it felt cold. Not temperature cold, feeling cold. She'd spent nearly $100,000 on that kitchen and it felt cold. I tapped the counter, listened to the sound it made. Quartz rings. Real stone doesn't. Real Calicut marble, Nero Marquina, even a less expensive limestone. They absorb the tap, swallow it. The quartz threw it back at us. That was part of what she was feeling. Sound. Fabric is the most underrated acoustic tool in any room, and it's the first thing value engineered out of a budget, which is why budget rooms always feel hard in a way you can't quite locate. The homes that feel most considered, the ones where you exhale the moment you cross the threshold, are almost always heavy with textiles, wool rugs deep enough that your foot sinks slightly, curtains that actually pool on the floor, made of something with enough body to hang without swaying every time someone walks past. Upholstered walls were in the older houses, a technique that almost no one uses anymore, and almost everyone who encounters it wonders why they don't. I had a client in London who had taken a room in her house, a drawing room that looked out onto a noisy street, and lined 3 walls with stretched linen over a layer of felt, painted the linen afterward. The room looked, to any visitor, like a normally painted room, but the acoustic difference was complete. The street outside became a distant suggestion. Conversations inside stayed inside. She'd spent no more than a serious rug would have cost her, and the room felt like a different building. There's a related principle that operates at a different scale: the way a room handles the sounds it does contain. A well-designed room doesn't eliminate all sound. That would be oppressive in a different way. What it does is control the sound it allows in. A ticking clock on a mantle in a quiet room is a sound that belongs. It's rhythmic, it's warm, it's human in scale. The same clock in a hard-surfaced room would irritate you within an hour. In the plaster and wool room, you stop hearing it consciously within minutes. It becomes part of the room's breathing. The same logic applies to windows. Old single-pane windows in well-built houses were set into thick walls, 8, 10, 12 inches of masonry or plaster. The depth of the reveal acts as a buffer. Sound has to travel through that depth before it reaches the room. Modern windows are set into thin walls, practically flush with the interior surface. There's no buffer, no transition. The street is directly in the room with you. The double-glazed windows that were installed in the 1980s and 90s as an upgrade solved one problem and created another. They blocked more sound, but they also had a flatness to them, a sealed quality, that the old wavy glass didn't have. Wavy glass has a relationship with light that changes the room. Sealed modern glass just keeps things out. There's a difference between quiet and dead. The last thing I want to say about this is something that took me years to understand properly. Quietness in a room is not about absence. It's not about removing things. The rooms that feel loud are often rooms where someone has tried to minimize, stripped back, simplified, reduced to surfaces. The irony is that surface is exactly the problem. Bare surfaces reflect. Reflection is noise. The rooms that feel quiet are full rooms, full of mass, or we're full of layers, full of things that have been in the place long enough to belong there. Books on shelves aren't just books. They're an acoustic surface, irregular and absorbent, that breaks up sound in ways that a flat painted wall never will. A landscape painting in a heavy gilt frame hung on a plaster wall contributes to the acoustic character of the room in a way that nothing in a design specification would ever capture. The Connecticut house I mentioned, the one that had belonged to the same family for 2 centuries, had not been designed for quiet. It had simply been lived in. The rugs had been bought one at a time, over generations, placed where feet would fall. The curtains had been replaced in kind when they wore out. The books had accumulated without intention. And the result was a room that felt complete in the way that rooms only feel when nothing in them is trying too hard. That's the sound of an expensive room. Or more precisely, that's the sound it doesn't make.